assist me there. Okay, so for the ones who don't know me, my name is Shweta Patnaik. You all will be doing your marketing subject with me this year, which is part of your BUT 260S. I'm sure you would be aware by now that BUT 260S as a subject code is a combination of finance, marketing, and human resource management, or management, whatever you call. And all of them together forms the subject code BUT 260S, which would mean your performance, your marks and scores in each of these three subjects will be added together, and you will be getting your weightage out of 100. Okay, so 33% in marketing, 33% in management, and 34% in finance. That was just to even it out and not make it an odd decimal number. So basically they are equal weightage in order for your final mark under BUT 260S. You would have met by now your finance lecturer and your management lecturer. I'm sure he was seeing you and she was seeing you last year as well in your first year. So I'm going to cover up marketing. Why I'm stressing and saying marketing and marketing again is most part of the second year we will be studying marketing, and then the last term of the year is when we're going to cover economics, because a major chunk of economics portion you have covered in your first year. So here it will just be about studying the global economy or the South African economy, just a little bit add on to the economy that you perhaps haven't known in your first year. But majorly we're going to study about marketing, and this subject marketing speaks to your retail in third year, to your entrepreneurship in third year. So it is related to other subjects. The knowledge of marketing will be helpful for you in your third year, next year. Criteria for second year to move on to third year: a student is expected to pass all the subjects in order to qualify to move on to the third year. If you fail to complete any one subject, unfortunately, you have to repeat that particular subject or those subjects if you have failed more than one next year, and you won't be allowed to do any third year subject. So that is the criteria for second year in order to move to third year, which I assume all of your lecturers by now would have already indicated that as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you a Blackboard page. So for my subject, you will be having all your content uploaded on Blackboard. Were you exposed to Blackboard last year? Did your subject lecturers upload their content and allow you to view them on Blackboard? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were you also uploading your assignments on Blackboard? Yes, okay. That's lovely. That's then I don't have to really show you how to upload assessments or how to view content, but I'll just show you what all is there within marketing. Before that, I see some of you have very interesting names while you would have joined Blackboard session. I would really appreciate from next session to write your full name with your surname, or at least write your real full name so I know who I'm speaking to, because some of you have really very interesting names. I know it's the month of Feb, it's a lovely month, but let's not stick to that and let's keep to the names that you originally are, okay? Because it might not be very interesting in a formal lecture to call people by names, which might be otherwise very personal. Okay. So just I'm going to share my screen, and one of you must just let me know if you're able to view my screen. So I'm going to actually share my whole screen. So anything that I'm going to change in terms of my tabs, you should be actually able to see that. Let me just see. I'm here on content. Okay. Are you all able to see a Blackboard page that says marketing and economics, that says marketing? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, ma'am, you can see.
Okay, okay, okay. So yeah, this is how your Blackboard code would look like. Okay, let me just increase the font size for some of you who are using your small devices or tablets or cell phones. Okay, so when you click on to BUT 260S, this is the folder that says marketing and economics. Okay, so the first thing in here, I'm actually going to go through each one of them just so that I know. Okay, this should be 2022. Looks like I'm still hanging in 2021. Okay, so the first folder is learner contract. Now, a learner contract is something that looks like this. Let me just show you. So, are you able to see a Word document that says learner contract?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. So, this is what your learner contract looks like. So this is basically a formal agreement between you and me where you follow and accept the set goals that I have, and I follow the set goals that I have towards you as well. Okay. If you can see, this will be a Word document that is already uploaded on Blackboard. So all that I'm going to talk now has already been uploaded. Okay. So you need to download it. You need to fill in your name, student number, email. If you want to, your cell phone number. If you don't want to, that's fine. Then you just need to read through what our goal is and what we need to do. Okay, so this is our goal, and these are the activities that we need to accept and adhere. For example, my expectation would be I need to be on time with the class. I should not, sorry, your expectation of me is student expectation of the lecturer, and my expectation of you is lecturer's expectation, which is I expect you to be respectful. I expect you to be on time for class. I expect you to not disturb the class if you're late, even if it means joining online late and then coming in and interrupting, but rather carrying on from where you did for whatever reason. There will be content that will be available beforehand, so I expect you to prepare yourself before you come to the class. This is second year. This is not going to be the way you did in first year, where we're going to go through everything together online. However, there will always be content available before you come to the class, and I will expect you to go through them um, the day before or the session or before our session that we have in the morning. That's up to you, but we will have more interaction and engagement in the class and not just going through the PowerPoint presentation. There will be some feedback forms that I will share with you end of every term, which is your Google Forms in terms of how the term was. Did it work well? Was it something that you didn't like, or are there any suggestions for me? So, what will happen if you do that? I can then, in the following term, say for example, you give me feedback for term one. If there are any changes or things that you need to add or delete, or you don't feel comfortable with this way or that way, then you can indicate that to me in the form, and I will make sure that as much as possible I can try to address your queries. Having said that, there might be out of 80 students, there might be 5 or 2 or 8 students who would say that they don't like the way Blackboard collaborate live sessions work, or they are not comfortable. In those cases, I might not take all your queries in consideration, because I have to see as a collective class what is the needs and requirements, and I will then adhere to the changes that you suggest me. Your expectation of me, you can expect me to be respectful and cordial. I will make sure that I provide my notes and resources on time. I will give you enough time prior to assessments or homework. And at the same time, I'll give you feedback of your assessments and homework after marking. Now, with homework, no, there isn't any marking until and unless I've specified it. So most of the time it will be about assessments. And because your assessments will be via Blackboard, So each of you will have your individual feedback in your assessments. So once you get to go to the grade center and view your grades and marks, you will be able to view the feedback that I would have provided with you and share your progress marks. Obviously, from last year, due to the Poppy Act, I cannot bring in the whole class list and share it via Blackboard. I have to obviously now do it on a one-on-one basis if need be, or else you go check it in your grade center for your own individual mark. What I'll also do is I will try give you feedback um, like one-on-one. Now that you're 18 number, I can't even at this stage promise, but if the class performance demands me of giving you individual feedbacks, then we can always slot that and have it done online. Okay. You would be knowing that you need to have at least a year mark of 50% in order to pass on and move on to the next year. Okay. So this is basically what a learner contract will look like, and then you sign and email it to me, and then I'll sign it and keep it for our record keeping, and which means we both are agreeing to it. Some of the house rules, we need to have a class attendance, which I will normally do it via Blackboard. So for me, Blackboard collaborate these live sessions gives me or allows me to download the class list of the students that were present. So that is an evidence for me to know that who all were present and who all were not. Okay. You are expected to attend at least 75% of the class. If not, by mid-year, if I collect the class list and figure out that these are the students who were present and these were not, I will have the right to stop you from not submitting assessments, or even if you submit, I won't mark it and I might just stop you from not writing or submitting your final year-end assessment, which means you can't move on to the next year. So please make sure that you are present in all the sessions that we have until and unless it's otherwise necessary. Okay, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to create a small folder within Blackboard and name it as absence or something like to do with like absenteeism. Okay, and you will have access to that folder where you can, just the way you upload your projects or assignments, you can just upload your doctor's note or so. So I will, by the end of the year, have a note of all of them. So as and when you are absent, and if it's due to being sick or a problem in the family, you need to update it to me either via email, or you need to update it to me by uploading a doctor's note or similar things on Blackboard. So I know why you are absent, and not wait till the last minute or till the end of the year and cite reasons that this is why I couldn't do it. At the end of each class, I'll give you some time for any question and answers. They don't necessarily have to be around a particular topic that we're discussing in that day's class. It can be around anything relating to the subject, or in general, if you want to ask me, I'll give you time at the end of the class. Sometimes you will be expected to work in groups or in pairs. So I will make sure that I give you the opportunity first through your class where you pick up your group members to work together in a group. If there are any queries or concerns, or if you as a class feel that no, I must do it randomly and appoint a group, then I'll do so. And then you will be given a group leader who will be appointed by your group that you have been part of. And then that particular group leader communicates between the lecturer and the group with regard to what needs to be done. Okay, if there are any project deadlines or submission deadlines, assessment deadlines that have been given, there will be no extensions considered whatsoever until and unless there is a real reason behind you submitting it late. If you don't submit it on time, then the departmental rules will apply, which means if you submit, so if today is the deadline, if you submit tomorrow, minus 5%, the day after is 10%, and by the third day, it's basically zero. So there will be no point in uploading or submitting your projects that you have been given. If you are missing any online submission or assignment that you are unable to submit, please let me know by sending me an email, Um, if it doesn't, or if that same thing happens in a group, then you need to make an initiative to avoid or let me know before time. Don't just come on the day of submission and tell me that we had such and such issues, or so we are not able to submit, or I am not able to submit. Okay. So again, rules for Blackboard, I'm sure you know, but I'm going to remind again just for everybody's own sake. So your first is when you log into Blackboard, you log in and you ensure that you have logged into the correct subject code. Your student number will be your username, and your password is what you have been given by the IT center, or the password that you have um, changed within your own capacity and have been using it. So your username, your student number, and your password for your student email is exactly the same for Blackboard. For any queries with regard to your Blackboard access, you can contact help desk at this given number, or you can contact IT center with their email. I think it's cts@cput.ac.za. Um, so that is about your learner contract. Let me just close this and come back here to the chat and see if there are any questions. Are there any questions so far before we move on?
Yes, ma'am. I would
Okay.
like to know regarding the number of students in the group. In the group, how many can we be?
It will depend, Deborah, depending on the class. So it should be at a max of 3 to 4, but it depends on the project and at the level of assessment that you are doing, term 1, term 2, which I'll discuss just now, but it is not going to be more than 4, because 4 already in an online platform sounds a lot.
All right, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, I see a hand up.
So, ma'am, I wanted to know, will you assign the groups to us or do we choose our own partners?
Initially, I'll give you the opportunity to do so, and I'll ask the class rep to make a note or make a list of the group members of each group and let me know. But if there are any queries or issues, or if you feel as a class this is not working, then I will obviously have to randomly choose myself.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I don't see any hands up. Okay, I'm then going to move on back, and let's go back from learner contract to online chat rules. Let's just see if this is visible. Okay, this is where you are. Okay, this is just a formal rule for chatting online with me or with each other, or when it comes to posting messages. So please make sure that you follow them at all times. I'm not going to read through them because it's basic generic information. You will also find it uploaded on your Blackboard account within the code in marketing and economics as well. Then moving on to the next section is Blackboard Help. Now I'm going to click and I'm going to show you, but before that, basically Blackboard Help is this whole community or the organization which is blackboard.com. Now Blackboard Help for Student is a link to blackboard.com, but it will straight take you to information relating to students or things that they want to know or are struggling with. So if you click on this link, it will take you, let's just go and see what's happening here. So if you click on this link, you will realize that anything that you want to know here with regard to your Blackboard account, you can actually understand here. Let me give you an example of Safe Assign. Now, Safe Assign is where, for example, I've given you a project, okay, a report that you need to write, but I don't want you to copy or sort of plagiarize from any source, which would mean that this safe assign is basically a stopgap. If you haven't listened to me and if you have already uploaded a document or trying to upload a document that has got a lot of plagiarism, which means you have just copy pasted from 10 different websites and you have put a report together, this will stop you from uploading a document. So you should make sure that you have read information from 10 different websites or 10 different online sites, but you have written it in your own way in a sequential manner and not just merely copy pasted it. So every time you submit a report for me, I will make sure that I allocate Safe Assign, so which will prevent you from not uploading. Now, if you want to know more about Safe Assign, then you click Safe Assign and you go as a student. What you need to know about Safe Assign. How does Safe Assign work? How do you avoid plagiarism? So anything that you want to know more about, you will find everything here. What else? So for example, how do you use Blackboard Collaborate? Okay, as a student. So it will tell you everything of how to connect. So all your information is present on this platform. That is why I have created a folder and I have put the link here. So if there are any issues, you are unable to get hold of IT Center, then you can just log in and look for yourself. Just type your query in the search box once you log into this Blackboard Help for students, and it will give you all the information that you need. Okay. Next, let's move to our subject guide. Again, I think I've written it subject guide 2021. Oh, okay. So here is our subject guide. Let me just click open and share our subject guide and show you what we have for the year. So this again is already uploaded. You can in your convenience have a look. So this is me. Here is my email, as you can see here. So you need to make sure that you can that you keep a record of my email address. If at any point of time you are having to you having any information, if you're having a query or concern that you want to ask me, you can always email me. You do have the email of your department head, your department secretary, and your moderator. Now, Ms. Drosky is your internal moderator for the subject, which means, say for example, we have four terms in the year. There will be four assessments, two of which will be moderated. What would that mean? So, say for instance, term two assignment, I have marked you and have given you 70% for the work that you have done. Now I will send her the reports and the memos. She will have as a moderator to write to override the marks that I have given you and say that, okay, I feel this student should be getting 67 and not 70, or should be getting 75 and not 70. So she will have the right to moderate and let me know of her concerns or what she feels the mark should be, or the way you have written, or your work, or my marking system. So it's not just me marking you and being biased to some of you and not to the others. We in the department have also somebody else who is not related to the subject but will have an access to the work that you have done and submitted to me, and to check that the marking done is fair in every manner. Okay. Now this is our textbook for the year. So with the textbooks that I have mentioned here, we do have online copies as well. But what happens sometimes as a student, you might have restricted access. And what would that mean? You would perhaps have access for certain days or a week, which might not be enough for you. So what I will try and make sure is, but at the same time, I'm aware that most of you are living in race and that you, if the library is open, you do have access to go and get a copy. But at the same time, I will make sure that the content that I'm providing you has enough information for you to read and prepare for the year, for the subject, and the knowledge that you need to have. Okay. Then the subject objectives or the subject outcomes. Okay. Please make sure that you read them. What is it that it's expected of you, or what it is that you need to know? These are the learning objectives and what are the outcomes that you are going to expect on completion of this year. Now, next we come to the assessment types. Please consider this as a draft and not a final when it comes to assessment types, because I'll tell you why. Um, I'm not sure if you have done integrated projects with more than one lecturer where you do the same project, but you do it for 2 or 3 different lecturers with their own components included in the brief. So I in second year, I do a lot of integrated projects. So which means you are not going to do your report just for me, but it will be a combination of me with your textile science lecturer, me with your garments lecturer or manufacturing lecturer, or with me and your human resource management lecturer. You will see a lot of integrated projects in the course of the year. Now, at this point of time, we are still working together on the briefs. So as of now, for the first term, you are going to do a proper project for me, just for me. But from second term onwards, you will be exposed to integrated projects, group work, where you will work with creating one project for multiple lecturers. So you do one project covering the brief, but you will be addressing it to different subject lecturers. So that's why if you would see, I have mentioned just the dates for now and briefly what we're going to do, but this is subject to change. But how does the weightage work? So the first term counts 15% out of 100. So by the time you have written your first term for any subject in second year, your 15% is out of the way, you left with 85%. Then by the time you do your second assessments, which is 25%, you would be done with that 25%. So by third term, you will only have 20 plus 40, 60% of the year weightage. Your 40% will be done already. Similarly, by the final exam or by the time you write your final assessment or submit your final assessment, you will be marked for 40%. So your final assessment also contributes or carries a big chunk of marks. Okay, so this is what I have again highlighted here under the assessment criteria and how does that work. Now coming to our syllabus structure and schedule. Okay, so if you see here, we have weeks, there is topic, and then there is date. So I haven't mentioned dates, but rather have named them as session 1, session 2. Say for instance, today in our briefing session, we're speaking about content, we're speaking about subject guides, how the assessments are going to be, and all of that. Okay. Then for session 1, we will have the chapter 1, which is product decisions. Now, in the subject guide, you basically have everything about chapter 1 in terms of information. Okay, when I say everything, I mean information. So what are the learning activities that will be covered? Sorry, what are the class engagements that we're having, and what you should be already knowing by your completion of this chapter. There will be times when the chapter is big, where we will use up to 2 lectures or 2 sessions, okay? And there will be some chapters where we will just wind up in 1 session. Hence, your attendance in every session is very important. So on it goes on for different chapters. In some of them, for example, in this one here, I've given few YouTube links which you can just click directly from the subject guide and have a look of what the chapter is about. I will also incorporate these YouTube links into Blackboard as well. So you will have these videos embedded into your Blackboard page under Marketing and Economics under Chapter 2, Developing and Managing Products. So I'm making sure that I'm making it available through all platforms so that you don't say that I haven't read or I haven't seen it. Okay. And then there is revision and so on. It's the pattern is more or less similar in the chapters that come forth one after another. So when you see them, you will understand. Now, I just want to bring your attention to one thing where in every chapter, or under every chapter, I'm saying lesson plan shared by Blackboard, lesson plan shared by Blackboard. Now, I want to quickly show you what a lesson plan would mean for you. Let's just see chapter 1. Now, this is what a standard lesson plan would look like. Okay, so your lesson plan would say what are the ways that we're going to have our sessions, what are the resources, a brief outline of the chapter. So you will have this whole document uploaded on Blackboard as well. In brief, what are we speaking or talking about in this chapter? Things that you need to know, which I will also make it available on PowerPoint presentation. And here it's still available in a concise form. So you basically get a whole lot of information, but all you have to do is study. So all of these will be available. Underneath that, we will have activities. So if the class allows, time allows, we will have activities in the class. And then whatever we don't complete it, we consider it as homework and you do it for me. Once you're done with your activities, I will give you your answers to each activity so you can match and see what you have done against what you have written. Okay, so this is in every chapter, we're going to do this. So this is what a lesson plan in the subject guide would mean to look like, so don't be confused. Now this was about subject guide. Let me again stop here and go back and see if there are any questions. Any questions so far? No questions? Okay, so which means it is loud and clear. Okay, let me then move on to the next section. Okay, yes.
Ma'am, I just wanted to know, is there going to be a group, a WhatsApp group with you with this course?
Is there going to be what group?
A WhatsApp group where you
Oh,
give us
WhatsApp group.
information? Yeah.
Okay, so I don't create WhatsApp groups with my students. I don't encourage that because what happened in 2020, we had a lot of WhatsApp groups and we used to have our sessions via that. But what was seen that because of message flooding, which means too many messages in the group. Now, for example, this class of yours, let me just do that. Yeah. In this class of yours, you have 80 students. Now, if imagine 80 of you or even 50 of you just I upload something and everyone says yes, yes, yes. So how many yeses are going to come in that? So it creates a lot of message flooding. If I'm sharing any information that is important, it is lost in the messages. So it can be a bit chaotic. So any information that I need to share, anything that I need to update you, it will go through Blackboard announcements to your email straight away. Okay. And I will make sure that I constantly inform you and update you. What I am intending to do at this point of time is I'm looking for a teaching assistant to assist me. So she will be or he will be assisting you. And if that happens sometimes in future in the next few weeks, I'll then ask her or him to create a WhatsApp group and then you can have your tutorial sessions with her. And that is where you can communicate with her as a tutor or as a TA, teaching assistant, short form we call it as TA in the department. And you can raise your questions and doubts and she can clarify them from you. If there's anything that she can't, then she will let me know. Okay, so that is how it is going to be. Other than that, everybody, anybody as an individual are welcome to email me for your concerns, or you as a class, if you have a concern, then your class rep can email me. I don't have a problem. I'll make sure that I address to them. Okay, I don't see any hands up or questions yet. Let's just move on to the next part. So this was your subject guide. Then I just want to quickly show you, okay, this here is your assessment folder. As you can see, there is nothing under this folder because I haven't created any assessments yet. Then I want to show you this folder by the name term 1. So if you see this folder, this is term 1 and this is our first chapter. So what I'm going to do is, like today, we are having our first introductory session in term 1. So under this, you see again, there is no documents in there. So after our session, the recording that I'm having now, I'm actually going to upload it on Blackboard. What I'm also going to do is, every time I have a session, you will find at least few days before your session. Say, for example, our class is on a Tuesdays. So by the weekend, the previous weekend, you will have all your content relating to that particular chapter available via Blackboard. So if you want to use your weekend and you want to go through the chapters, or if you want to go through the content, you will find it readily available. What I'm also going to do is, like I said earlier, I'm not going to come to the session and use your data and time to go through PowerPoint presentations. I'm going to record myself, which is basically in the screen. You will see as a screencast, you will see the slides and you will hear my voice over. So it will be in a form of a video, and I will upload it on Blackboard. At the same time, I will upload it on a YouTube channel. I will create that link and share it on Blackboard. So for instance, someone is struggling to log into Blackboard on a particular day, you can actually click the link and view the same video on YouTube. So you will have access to PowerPoint presentation before you come to the class. So which means on Tuesday morning when we have our class, we will just discuss about your doubts about a particular slide or a particular section in the chapter that you fail to understand. And we will discuss about that. And after that, I will actually show you the lesson plan that I just mentioned and showed you now, and we discuss and work around the classwork lesson plan. So that for me will be a good way of engaging with you, and for me and you to know that what has been already shared as a PowerPoint presentation video, you have read and you have understood. Okay. So in the folder here, as you can see, this would be where I'll upload the Blackboard recording from today. Say, for example, we go to our session 1, which was product decisions. Now within this, you will have a few subfolders. Now I'll show you what I mean by this. Let me just for example, open this. So this subfolder is basically, you can see it's for 54 seconds. Now, for some of you wondering, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, all of these subfolders within these days, so much of information. Now, what is that all about? You can just play for less than a minute. You don't, as you can see, here's the play button. You don't have to download it. Please don't do that and waste your data. You can just play and listen. So, which will tell you what all is there in this session 1 folder and what does it cover under these. So that is basically, as you can see, I've named it as a startup video. So for that particular day's folder, this is what you are going to have. So our next session is on the 15th of Feb. Let me just change it to the 15th and say, so for 15th of Feb, this is what you have, and this is what you need to know that it's included in this folder. Okay, that was your first one, startup. Now, under this folder, PowerPoint and resource materials, you will have your PowerPoint that we're going to discuss, which I'll again record myself and make a video on. You will have some terms and definitions. You will have a small case study with questions. Now, I don't release this before our class, but just because of our first session next week, for you to get a hang of how I operate and how do we go about the subject this year, I've already opened this file and you are already able to view the file with the questions and answers that you have for homework. Okay. Then we go to the next, still within session 1 is your link to recording and podcast. So podcast basically, as you all would know, is small audio voiceovers. Okay, so this is the voiceover from my last session with second years. But what I have actually done is I have still kept it with me so that I could share with you all. Now, the reason for doing that is this will actually allow you to download. This will actually allow you to save it somewhere in your phone or in your laptop, because these are small mini podcasts. So this is like for 5 minutes. Then this one here would be like for 5 minutes. So these are small podcasts of the chapter that is on product decision. So if you want to listen to them at any time you are revising this chapter or want to know more about it, then you are always welcome to download them. It will consume very less data. That's why I have kept it and I have already uploaded it here, as you can see. Then under that, you will see there's something that called recording from today's session. So when we have our session next week, like this live session, which I'm recording now, when we'll have a session, I will just record it and then I'll upload it, and this is how it is going to look like here. Okay, so again, you don't have to download the file, you just have to press play and you just listen to the session. Okay, now this is just to make sure that you have all these information accessible at any point of time in future in the course of the year, if you want to ever listen or download, or even though I don't motivate anyone or encourage anyone to download it, as long as it's small podcast that if you really need to save it somewhere, or if you want to make notes which you couldn't in the class because you were busy listening, I would suggest you to listen to me. And if at a later stage you want to make your notes, you can always make your notes after the end of our session. So rather listen and ask questions over um, focusing on writing notes. But again, when I upload the recorded videos on YouTube and on Blackboard, make sure that you listen to them and make notes of small areas or definitions or questions in each and every slide that you have queries or doubts on, so that you can ask me in the class that, okay, can we go to slide number 3, and under section this I couldn't understand, or I need to know more. Can you give us more examples? Then I'll do that. The reason for making sure we have all this available is we have more class engagement. If time permits, we can, as a class together, watch some YouTube videos for examples and case studies in marketing. In the subject marketing, I will try as much as possible to stick to our clothing and textile sector. So the examples or the case studies that you will have will be majorly around these around our industry, and not general case studies about other industries. Okay, and then the last one here, as you can see here, it says classwork activity, and then there's class exercise, which will be uploaded in the course of time once we are there next week with our first session. I don't think I'm missing anything, so let me just stop sharing and come out here. Okay, now any questions, any queries that you have? No one, no queries?
No questions, ma'am.
Okay, that's lovely. So, which would mean that you all would have understood everything that we spoke today, and that as a class, we are all in agreement that this is how our year is going to be, more or less. Again, if there are times upfront, I'm just letting you know that I might be, or I might have been invited for a meeting or for a workshop, or if there's any such arrangement that happens which is non-negotiable in terms of times, then I will let you know. And if necessary, I'll try covering up in perhaps swapping it with any other lecturer, or else seeing you in the afternoon, because I know when we're having online lectures, you are available afternoon 1 p.m. onwards, if I'm not wrong. So I will try and adjust that lost time, but I will let you know upfront. Okay. Any other general queries, questions? Today's the time for you to ask, so you can ask anything if you have. You don't have
Okay,
to
ma'am.
feel shy thinking that it might be a silly question or a stupid question to ask. If there's anything, it's always convenient to ask. Yes, Deborah.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. There's a student who asked in the chat box if we are going to write the tests on campus or online.
Mm. So now this is a directive from the institution, and whatever we say, I say, or any lecturer says, it's only again in draft. It might change depending on the spread of the virus or depending on the wave, if we are expecting a new wave sometime in the middle of the year. As of now, we have been informed that until, so basically your term one and term two, whatever is the assessment, it will be done online. Term three and four might be on campus. But when it comes to my subject in marketing, I would be more interested in doing projects over making you write long question answers. Because for me, I understand assessment shouldn't be just about testing you how much big answers you can write for me, but for me to actually know that how practically you have understood the subject. So this is what I can actually tell you at this point of time. But again, like I said, that might be subject to change. Anything else? Okay. Just a last thought to the class rep and to all of you in the class. I know I've mentioned it in the beginning as well. Please make sure that you attend lectures, otherwise you might end up in being in big trouble because if you miss out on something, yes, you might always have an opportunity to listen to the recording, but you might not get your questions or answers. But at the same time, if I see you constantly being absent, I will make sure or make a note that you haven't been regular in the class, then I might just stop you from submitting your assessments. It's an institutional and a departmental rule. And lastly, I see only half the students in the class, so class rep and all of you, please remind your friends it's the beginning of the year to make sure that they attend the sessions. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to catch up if you don't make it to the beginning of the sessions in any subject, not just mine, but in any subject. Okay, so that's my thought. I'm just going to stop